this lesson, we're going to talk about rates and unit rates. Okay, so the first thing we need to talk about is what a rate is. A rate is a comparison of two quantities that have different units. Okay, so let's think about a car. Okay, when cars travel, they travel when we're talking about two different units. We're talking about distance and time, miles per hour. Whoops. Miles per hour. Okay, so that's the unit rate for speed. It's miles per hour. Okay, and we can write that as words like we did here. We could do miles divided by hour, so on and so forth. So for instance, for this car here, let's say it had traveled 100 miles in 4 hours. Okay, so if we reduce this, because again, this is like a fraction, if we reduce that, we can say, well, 100 over 4, if we make an equivalent fraction over here, over 1, to get from 4 to 1, we divide by 4. Okay, so to get from 100 to this guy here, we need to divide by 4. So 100 divided by 4 equals 25. Okay, so this car was going 25 miles per hour. Okay, so again, with this, we had two quantities. We had 100 miles and we had 4 hours. Okay, we were looking at 100 in terms of miles, so distance, and we were looking at 4 in terms of time, 4 hours. Okay, so we compared two numbers with two different units. Okay, so let's take a look at a word problem talking about that. Okay, actually we're not on a word problem. We're going to talk about some peanut butter. Okay, we have two brands of peanut butter here. Now, different people like different kinds of peanut butter. Okay, but when you go to the store, you want to make sure you're getting a good buy, because again, it's all about money. So let's take a look at Skippy. Now, Skippy is $3.84 for a 16-ounce jar. But now we also have Peter Pan, which is a little bit more. It's $4.50, but you get more in the jar. Okay, so we want to figure out the price per ounce. Okay, because that's the only way we can compare these. Okay, because they come in different size jars, and the price is different. So if we can find the price per ounce, then we can compare the two and see which one is a better buy. Okay, so let's start off with Skippy. Okay, so for 16 ounces, it's $3.84. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2. That brings my ounces down to 8. And if I divide this by 2, then that's going to bring my cost to $1.92. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and divide these by 2, and then we'll divide this by 2, and $1.92 divided by 2 is 96 cents. And then over here, we're down to 4 ounces. Okay, we're going to divide by 2 again. Now I'm dividing by 2 because I know that, well, 16, when I started out with 16, it was an even number. So I know that all even numbers are divisible by 2. Okay, so 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 96 divided by 2 is 48. Okay, now I'm almost there. I'm going to divide 2 by 2 to get 1 ounce, and then 48 divided by 2 is 24. So Skippy is 24 cents per ounce. Okay, now let's take a look at Peter Pan. Okay, so for 25 ounces, it was $4.50. Okay, now with my ounces, it's 25. I have to think of a number that's divisible by 25 that can eventually get me down to 1. Okay, 2 is not going to work because, again, up here, when I was doing Skippy, 16 ounces was divisible by 2. So let's try 5. So we're going to divide that by 5. It becomes 5 ounces. And if I divide this side by 5, that becomes 90 cents for 5 ounces. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and divide this again by 5. Notice how I'm dividing by the same number every time. 5 divided by 5 equals 1, so I'm almost there. 90 divided by 5 equals 18. Okay, so Peter Pan is going to cost me 18 cents per ounce. Okay, so my unit rate here is cost per ounce. So Skippy was 24 cents per ounce. Peter Pan was 18 cents per ounce. So overall, Peter Pan's a better buy. Okay, so we talked about unit rate. Okay, definition: a unit rate is a rate in which the second quantity is 1 unit. When the first quantity is in a unit is an amount of money, the unit rate is sometimes called unit price or unit cost. So what we did, if we backtrack a little bit, with the peanut butter, we found the unit rate, okay, because we broke it down into 1 unit, and in that case it was 1 ounce. So unit rate is when you are breaking it down into 1 unit. So and again, when we're dealing with money, we can say unit cost or unit price. And again, when we think of unit, think of 1 item, okay? Some other unit rates that we've heard of before in the past, price per pound, okay? When you go to the deli and you want to order some roast beef, usually they'll have a price there that says $9.99 per pound, okay? That's the unit rate for roast beef. Miles per hour, it's how many miles you go in 1 hour. That's how we measure speed, okay? So again, something per something, when this second something is 1 unit. Like here it was in 1 hour and it was 1 pound. Okay, so unit rate is when we're dealing with 1 unit in the second quantity. Okay, let's try to figure this one out. Okay, here's a word problem. It says, Sherry pays $90 for 60 yoga classes. What is the cost per class? Okay, cost per class, unit rate, because we want to know for 1 class, how much does it cost? Okay, so we can do it 2 different ways. We can find the unit rate like we just did before. Okay, so we can say $90. We want to find out the unit rate for 1 class. So to get from 6 to 1, we divide by 6. So over here, we're going to do the same thing. Divide by 6. 90 divided by 6 equals $15. So the unit rate is $15 per class. Now down here with using equivalent rates, okay, another way we can do it, similar to method 1, okay, I have 90 over 6. Now remember, to find an equivalent rate, whatever I do on the top, I do in the bottom, similar to what I did over here, except it might be a few extra steps. So I notice they're both even, so I'm going to divide by 2, top and bottom. 90 divided by 2 equals 45. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So right now, 90 to 6 and 45 to 3, those are equivalent rates. Okay? But I haven't found the rate for 1. So I'm going to keep going. So I can say equals, and I can't divide 3 by 2, but I could certainly divide it by 3. And I can divide 45 by 3. That equals 15 over 1, so it's 15. Okay, so either way you do it, either finding the unit rate or using equivalent rates, you can go ahead and find how much something costs per class, per gallon, per pound, things like that.